Oh, man.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Hey, you get up there, man. Trust me. I'll
Hey,
blast it.
guys, once again, we back. Episode 13, Knicks and Bruises. I got Legion of Knicks, Guillermo, one of the day ones. What's going on, my brother?
Good, man. Good, man. Happy to be here, man, on Knicks and Bruises, man. Go through some painful moments of my Knicks fandom, man. This is a lot of scar tissue, man. So let's get it, man.
Yes, it is. I know you've seen a few shows, so you know what it's all about.
Yep.
The floor is yours. I'll interject when I can, but however you want to start it, man. Knicks and Bruises, episode 13. Let's get it.
So just to give you some background, I'm a diehard Knicks, Mets, Jets, Manchester United. For anybody watching soccer fan, so I got into it's weird with basketball, right? The first game I remember watching was the Suns versus the Knicks, maybe like 92, 93. And I remember because the Suns had a tough jersey. I was like, yo, whose jersey? Like, that's a cool looking jersey. Like in my head, I didn't know, but I'm just walking around. And my father, like, he's just like trying to get he doesn't want to like talk to me while he's watching basketball. So I just started watching. And I was like, okay. Then he kept following the other team, which was the Knicks. I was like, okay. But I just remember the Suns that year. I don't know if it was it's either 92, 93, 93, 94. No, it had to be 92, 93 or maybe 91, 92. And it was a tough. I don't know whatever it was, but that Suns jersey, I loved it. With the Knicks, man. So it's weird. People would think that my first pains, you could say, came from the 93, 94. But I was still such a young kid that was like, in my head, I was like, oh, okay, we're going to be back here. Because the Knicks, back then, we were going to the playoffs every year. Like, we threw away Rod Strickland, one of the best handled point guards in the league at the time. We gave him Mark Jackson. It was like, we were so blessed with talent. And Pat Riley. I mean, everybody remembers Pat Riley. You know what I'm saying? With the slick back hair, looking like an old school mobster. Like, we got it. It was like the perfect New York situation. And also, I was a Mets fan. Back then, 93, 94, we sucked badly. I mean, we had like Butch Husky, Todd Hundley, Bernard Gilkey, Generation K, that flop with Bill Pulsiver and Bobby Jones and Jason Isringhausen, Paul Wilson. So watching the Mets was like how I then started to watch the Knicks later on. It was like these lovable losers, but like, you can't leave. It's like that's your team. And playing for Bonnie's Baseball in New York, anybody from Brooklyn, you know about Bonnie's Baseball. If you played baseball back then, is like on my team. I remember everybody was a few people were Yankees fans, but these kids, I remember Chris, Glenn, and some other dudes were Mets fans, and my father was a diehard Met fan. So I was
as was mine, by the way.
Because you know why? 80s. A lot of people who came in, because my parents came in 83. So 86 was when we won. The Mets won. So it's probably like in his head is like, yeah, that's the team. Because the Yankees were always, but the Yankees to me is just boring. Like I've been to a Yankee stadium because Bonnie's Baseball give you tickets to, sometimes, occasionally. And I just never liked the Yankees whatsoever. The Mets were. So it was like I always stay loyal to my teams. I don't move. Jets was a little bit later on, but still I was a fan, maybe 96 when we had maybe 95, 96. Then obviously Bill Parcells. But with the Knicks, man, 93, 94, man, I never in my head, when I look back at it, I'm like, I should have seen the signs, man. Because that game 6, we lost by 2. And John Starks couldn't hit that. Well, he got that 3 partially blocked by Olajuwon. And that's just a destiny type of thing. It's just, you know what I mean? You don't think about it at that. He's like, oh, yeah, we let's get them. And then obviously your boy John Starks goes, 2 for 18, 2 for 6. And it's like, I remember my father at the time, I think he was saying, they should have put Harp in. They should put Harp in. I'm not thinking, I'm not. And then we see it later on, it's like, oh. And they have Ronaldo Black. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, oh. Then you just keep watching it. And the crazy thing is that Starks had such a good, run. And then bam. So in my head, I'm not processing. 95 comes, 96, and then 97. I think it was supposed to be. That was the year that the whole fight happened, right? Yes. And then what's the name? What was it? A few guys were out, but like when you look back at it, as a kid, I'm not thinking of it. But when you do the research, like that team was supposed to be the team to take it. That 97 team, this was supposed to be like that was like the so-called most stacked team of that Knicks dynasty, whatever. But my worst time, man, because it's weird. Like in the fervor for the Knicks has always been New York. But there was a slight change where the Knicks were no longer the talk of the NBA. And I think that 99 was like that last, like it was starting to come around that time because I'm a diehard basketball. I had a bunch of friends who were like Lakers fans. For some reason in Brooklyn, a lot of people were because of Kobe. That goes to show you how Brooklyn is. People in Brooklyn loved back then before gentrification. People back then, because those people I'm telling, they probably moved out for the most part from my elementary school. Most of them moved out of New York. But back then it was like, we loved dogs. Like we hated Jordan with a passion. But in the back of our minds it was like, yeah, he's a dog. I remember rooting against Jordan 96. I've never rooted for a team so badly I wasn't the Knicks when I rooted for the Supersonics. Because I love Gary Payton. Dog. Sean Kemp. Dog. That was one of my favorite teams to watch. I'm talking about the Sonics, the Kings, the Pistons, 2003, 2004. These are teams these are my top teams that weren't Knicks that I love rooting for just because there's something about that team I love watching.
Real quick, the Kings, you talking about white chocolate and all right. We can talk about that another time, but I'm with you, man. I'm with you with that team particularly because I loved white chocolate and Chris Webber.
And white chocolate left. Remember, you talking like because but back to the Knicks thing, it was like right at like that 99, then to 2000. That was like when the Knicks slowly stopped because then the Lakers started speaking. So just like as being talked about, because back in the mid-90s, early 90s, the Knicks were, and I didn't have cable, so until like 90, until 8th grade. So that was what 2001, 2002, something like that. So, I'm stupid. 2001, whatever. And so that's when you started to see. And in '99 was like that. It was like the last hope, man. Allen Houston, one of my favorite players because I try to model my game out because I was never explosive. Like when I was younger, I could take off the dribble, shoot the ball. And the thing about back then, everybody wanted to be like Tim Hardaway because everybody think it was Iverson. It was Tim Hardaway's crossover, at least in Brooklyn, at least from the kids I played with. Everybody tried by Tim Hardaway because my brother, everybody tried by Tim Hardaway. Catch you, boom, like you know what I mean. Allen Iverson's a little bit more style. It was beautiful, Allen Iverson, but Tim Hardaway had that quick got you. You know what I mean? So it was with Tim Hardaway, and then also, Penny Hardaway's is a really good dribbler, but he had a little bit to it too. He could just catch you off the dribble. But Tim Hardaway, remember, people were like, yo, because you're in Brooklyn. Anytime you bring up a new person, then they'll tell you, the original was such and such. I was like, all right. But you watch, and Tim Hardaway's got Allen Houston to me, just because I was not a good dribbler whatsoever. But I could shoot. I don't know why. Every step of the way in my life, even when my phone was trash, I could shoot. And so I modeled my game after Allen Houston because he was such a gym rat in shooting. Like you hear the stories that he would be shooting like 100 or 1,000 free throws, whatever, and he'd be some star. I'm probably butchering it, but that he wouldn't count a free throw if it hit any of the net. Like it had to be a switch. And I was like, oh man, this is my guy right here. Man. This is my guy, man. Allen Houston, he was just smooth about it. Like he wasn't the quickest either, but he got to his spots perfectly. And then Latrell Sprewell. I mean, if you hear the stories,
talk about dog.
That's what I'm saying, man. We could sit here and talk about all this stuff that's happening in today's NBA. The people say, "Oh, the game back then wasn't pretty," but you had dogs. You never had to look. Whenever you saw somebody crowned for being one of the best back then, you never questioned their heart. Like I could sit here, people don't even remember Mitch Richmond. Richmond used to give Jordan fits. Now, granted, the Kings weren't good because I remember they traded Mitch Richmond for Chris Webber because that team with Mitch Richmond and all those guys on the Kings, they were bottom feeders. But Mitch Richmond in himself, if you go back to the it was a Chris Mullin and Hardaway
run TMC
with the Golden State Warriors. Mitch Richmond was a dog. And he wasn't even, you wouldn't say Mitch Richmond was a top 5, top 10 player back then. But you put him in today's NBA.
Bucket.
Oh, he used to post up Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a great defender, one of the greatest of all time. He used to give Michael Jordan fits. And I love seeing it was like, yo, Michael Jordan can't stop Mitch Richmond. But then the Bulls will beat the Kings by like 15, 20. But it's like Mitch Richmond gave Jordan 30. Wait, who's this dude? So that's why I loved it back then. So it's like the Charles Spiegel back in the day, and I didn't have the internet in my house. I had it at school, and so they would. I remember there was a report saying that like Latrell Sprewell was because again him and Houston they would. It's like they play like interchangeable 2-3. They weren't really like Houston's a 2, but then for some reason I can't remember which report it says. So like Sprewell was like ranked as like the top guard, like the top guard or top for something like that. That year, the Knicks went to the finals. And Latrell Sprewell, I just remember his signature, even though it was corny as hell, he had that signature dunk where he'll be on a fast break. He might look back and he'd do he'd do something. It was so corny, but it was so Knicksy. It was beautiful, man. It was like, yo, that's Latrell Sprewell, that's my dude, man. And obviously, well, Ewing got hurt during, and it's something because Ewing's such a figure, man. And me and my brother used to make fun of Ewing because Ewing, like, he's always bandied up with the knee pads. And it always looked like he was carrying every time he dribbled. When we over exaggerate, he wasn't carrying, but he always in a post like this. And it's like, all right. It looked like, all right, he wasn't doing that. But, we over exaggerate. Ewing, obviously, it sucked because it felt like if you're able to provide an inside-out presence with Ewing, if we had the 94 Ewing in 99, it's tough, man, because that freaking Spurs. I hate the Spurs to this day. I hate seeing Sean Elliott's face with that stupid knee brace. I hate seeing it. You know what the worst person was that I hated seeing? Mario Elie. I don't know why I hated Mario Elie. I just remember his face because I hated Ron Harper when they looked alike. And I hated those like all-headed, evil-looking dudes who like they were on good teams that beat my team. But I mean that Knicks team in '99, man. And granted, it was the abbreviated season, but still, I wanted to win one. I didn't really care about the technicalities of that stuff. Marcus Camby with the take it, launch it back here, and then he was such a good defender, young player. We get riled up. We sat Charlie Ward, solid guard. I mean, we had a squad, man. And I mean, offensively, I don't even think we were the best because I think if you look at it, I think like Houston, let me see, Houston averaged like 16 points, I think, or something like that. And Sprewell only averaged like 14. Oh, that season?
I think it was a little more than that.
Hold on. I'll check right now. 98, 99 roster. Yeah, the highest average that year. My computer wants to act up when I'm doing a show. Come on, man. Give me 2 seconds. I'm trying to expand the screen now. For some reason, it's acting stupid. So Patrick Ewing averaged 17.3 that year. Latrell Sprewell 16.4. Allen Houston 16.3. Larry Johnson 12 points. Kurt Thomas 8.1. Yeah, Charlie Ward 7.6. Camby 7.2. So yeah, and we had Chris Dudley. But yeah, we were just a scrappy, gritty team. I think a lot of it was our defense. Let me look at defense. Yep. Fourth in opponents' points allowed. Fourth in defensive rating, but we were 13th. We were 27th, 29th in offense. But it was like the defense is such a thing that was like when you don't have the talent and the reason why fans we stick so close to defense because like it embodied New York. You know what I mean? When you play, come on, bro. When you play ball, some of the worst times you had wasn't against the kid who could score 30, 40 on a point because those guys don't even play deep. A lot of times they score and it's like, all right, I'm gonna just save my energy. It was those dogs that it's like this dude don't got no talent, bro. But for some reason he can shift his hips, his hand, like he's one of these annoying players. And it's like even when it's time for him to score, on a break or something, he'll pass it up to somebody else or he have a janky shot. But for whatever reason, New York, you go into games where it's like a dude's looking at, he don't like you for some reason. And he wants to eat your food, like he wants to destroy you. It's like, yo, I don't know. Like, it's a New York thing. So he's not sitting there complaining, but your head, you're like, I don't know this guy. Like, what's up with this dude? You know what I mean? But those be some of the, and that's what New York galvanized. So it was that gritty defense that even if you weren't the most talented, you can still try to save the day by being a beast on defense. You know what I mean? And that's what that 99 team represented, man. Like we went through we went through Miami. Everybody knows Miami, man. That was. When y'all knew New York Knicks fans, man, y'all don't understand. Like back in the day, you can walk through New York now with a Miami jersey, and it's Gucci. Back then, you walk around like, and you trying to scream, "Oh, I'm Miami." I heard people call themselves a Celtics fan that I went to school with. Shout out to Dorian Harvey. I don't know, she's probably not watching this, but girl from my elementary school, Dorian Harvey, cute girl by the way. She has some brothers that will f you up by the way too. I remember she had two brothers. I remember we were in second, they were in sixth. They were in my sister's grade. And they were, they protected their sister. Right? Her sister was the girl Dorian was popular, but she is a Celtics fan. Like, I'm like, wait, what? But back in the day, bro, Miami Heat, Knicks, Pacers, Knicks, Bulls, Knicks,
rivalries, and you ain't know who was gonna get beat up in those games.
Woo! Oh my gosh! And you had Oakley, and granted, one of the mistakes I think the Knicks made was giving up back in the day, giving up Xavier McDaniels. We needed that enforcer, man. That's if you're gonna live and die by defense, you might as well have all soldiers on deck. And we didn't resign him. And that was did we trade? No, did we trade him? Or we didn't resign him. I think we didn't resign him, right?
I'm not for certain, but I definitely was a fan of the X-Man.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. I know about fights with him. Oh, that dude was. See, the thing about X-Men was not like this uber like talented in terms of like, oh yes, he can shimmy and all this and cultural. He was an enforcer. He did the dirty work. And that Knicks team is like we were like slowly, you know what I mean? It's like the remnants of the 90s because obviously Jeffrey and Gunny took over from Pat Riley. And it's like Jeffrey and Gunny did a great job. I would never take anything, but Pat Riley was the architect, right? You can't replicate the original. And that's not saying that Jeffrey and Gunny was trying. I'm not saying that Jeffrey and Gunny is a great coach. I love Jeffrey and Gunny, but Pat Riley, I think, I don't know. There's something to it with the way Pat Riley coached. The fact that he gave us so much talent and still compete year in, year out. And Jeff Van Gundy tried, man, but Patrick Ewing, I believe, tore his Achilles against the Pacers, was it?
Mm-hmm.
That year? Let me see. I think it was that year that he tore his Achilles against the Pacers. Yep. He missed the rest of the playoffs. Yep, it was a Pacers. So it was like, and the thing about it is that, look, we got through the Miami Heat. I still remember what was I think Clarence was Clarence moving there. I think it was PJ Brown. Oh, I hated PJ Brown. Freaking box head. These enforcers, man. It's like it's weird. It's like every team, all these teams, they had these enforcers. The Antonio Davises, PJ Browns. Go.
Willis, Kevin Willis.
Oh, Kevin Willis with the egghead. Oh, I hated Kevin Willis with the. Oh my God.
That's one thing about those old school bigs. Veteran bigs, they did not miss a shot. Like that's one thing you don't see nowadays. Like these guys was shooting like probably 80% from like the 14 footers. You can't leave them open. And nowadays it's like, how are you missing? Like I don't get how back then they were so consistent. The veterans, you know what I mean. And nowadays it's nowhere near the consistency.
Because, bro, coaching. Think about this, right? And granted, look, I'm happy that the players are getting as much money as they can because you are the talent. You make the league, so you should be getting your fair shares of the TV revenues. But the thing about it is that coaching has been marginalized, right? Granted, this guy is an absolute jerk. I'm not sitting here saying that he was a personal guy or whatever, but the George Karls of the world where it's not necessarily about me liking you, whatever. It's about me coaching you up and getting you to perform the highest peak. You know what I mean? I'm a negative reinforcement kind of guy. Like in Bonnie's baseball suit, rest in peace, Coach Smitty. One of the best coaches I ever had. This guy would scream at you. He had this dude before the Vietnam War had a tumor right here on his. And it was you could see it. Old dude smoking cigarettes. Oh, and he would curse us out with the words. I'm not gonna curse, but you this, you that, smoking. But it was to get you to. He toughened you up. We were one of the best young teams. You went to the Pony. No, we went to Federation. We went to the Pony tournament. I'm telling you, Bonnie's baseball back in the '90s, man. Suit to Coach Smitty. But they had their sons there who sucked and would play over people, but. Coach Smitty, that was my dude because, like, in my head, growing up in Brooklyn, man, when you realize that Santa Claus ain't real, at the 93, 94 finals, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I guess dreams don't happen because, you know what I mean? Everybody, the Rangers and the Knicks and then the Rangers win. I'm not a hockey fan like that. Even though hockey is dope, playoff hockey, I'm telling you, playoff hockey is dope. If you have not been to hockey, I would tell you, whenever the Rangers make it, just watch one series. Watch one series of playoff hockey. Again, I'm not trying to sit here and playoff hockey is dope. I remember a few years ago when the Rangers they lost to the Kings in the finals. The year that they fought the Capitals and Ovechkin was trying, and your boy Henry Lundqvist, Yeah, like it was a game 6. He saved everything. But I'm telling you, I don't know how to put it in basketball. It's like, imagine if the Knicks go into the playoffs against the Eastern Conference Finals against like the Nets. No, I'm not using the Nets. All right, let me use the Nets. And literally our defense, like we're shutting the Nets down on everything. And it's like they're getting shots and everything, and we're blocked. Like that's how it felt when I watched Rangers. But back to the Knicks, man. So some of the Rangers. Oh yeah, that year we were supposed to win with the Rangers, so that kind of killed. But growing up in Brooklyn, man, you lose a lot of like that fairy tale hope and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? You growing up in the suburbs, shooting super soakers and eating sandwiches or stuff. And it's like, yeah, home, and it's like, damn, I can't go to Fort Greene Park at 8 because dudes are getting robbed. And it's like, all right, wow, you gotta stay home. If you had a video game, back in the day, I had like, did I still have a Nintendo or something? I don't know. Oh, Sega. I had Sega back in the early 90s, 2000. I had PlayStation, but we didn't get a real game until like Final Fantasy 7. Because I was like, yeah, play them demos. Play some get those real demos. You're playing the demos, trying to find secret levels in the demo itself that are time. And you're like, yeah, this ain't fun. You know what I mean? So it's like growing up, you lose hope, man. And like that 90s team, man, that was like the last bastion of hope. And granted, I'm always a Knicks fan. I never stopped watching Knicks, but yeah, man, that 90s team. We played the Miami Heat, the floater. Like even the float, if you look at the float, it was just getting to destiny, man.
It was.
We move on, and the Heat, we hated the Heat. Tim Hardaway, I hated the Heat. Then we go on to the Hawks, and I thought Steve Smith, go back and watch Steve Smith. Steve Smith, shooting guard, he was nice.
He's a bucket.
On NBA Network, and what I mean, he's older, whatever. He just kind of Steve Smith was a bucket. And I remember there was talks about trading Allen Houston for Steve Smith. That's how good Steve Smith was back in the day. So people don't poo-poo Steve Smith. When you see him, I know he's chilling. He's an uncle now, whatever. Give him respect. He was a beast back in the day. But we killed him. We swept him. Then we got to the Pacers, and I think that's where Patrick Ewing hurt himself. I can't remember which game it was, but when he went down with the Achilles, which game was it? Damn, I can't find it, but yeah, it was. They said this is June 3rd, 1999. So that's June 3rd, 1999. I'm looking at the games. June 3rd, 1999. Oh my gosh, that was game. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Game 6. So and we beat the Pacers that game, but we just oh man, yeah, game 6. But we. Oh, whoa! I'm going crazy. My bad. Hold up. I looked at the wrong thing. I apologize, guys. June 3rd, 1999. So that was right before game 3. I looked at the wrong finals. My bad, y'all. So yeah, then we beat the Pacers the next game, lost them, and beat them the next 2. But yeah, man. I mean, you had I think Rick Smith was still there. I believe Rick Smith was still there. You had Reggie Miller, who was annoying. I hated Reggie Miller.
The Davis boys.
Let me say it again.
The Davis boys.
Oh, Antonio. Yeah.
Antonio. I know. Forget that. Dale Davis.
Dale Davis. I think he had like a gap in his teeth. Always looked just angry. I hated
those were some bruises. I always felt like they modeled their team after us. That's the way it felt.
You think so?
That's the way it felt with them bruises. You know what I mean? And they had size. Like they towered over Oakley. Oakley was a bruiser, but he was pretty short compared to those guys. I don't think who else we had back then going against those Pacers. I mean, they just was big, man, and it felt like there was a problem. Then tall Rick Smiths.
Yep. Rick Smith was good in his day, man. People forget, man. I'm telling you, I feel bad because it's like you got so many guys who they weren't elite or they weren't like super duper stars, but they were good. Like you could put him on any team now, you'd be like, nah, this team, nah, he'll give you points. Now, granted, the league has changed or whatever, but yeah, they had their roster. Yep, Travis Best, Austin Crochet. I hated him too. He's just a generic dude. He'd give you a few threes a game. I hate Austin Crochet because also in shootout, I played live, but I was a shootout head too, and he sucked. I was like, I just remember you trying to use him, and I was like, this dude is garbage. Why would I? Why is he in this game? I used to be big in the. So yeah, they had Reggie Miller, Rick Smith, they had Jalen Rose, Chris Mullin, who's still there too. Yeah, he was killing from three. Antonio Davis, Dale Davis, Mark Jackson, traitor. Suits Mark Jackson, all love, man. Because he would kill his games, bro. His passing, woo, on a break, Mark Jackson. He used to have those stupid wristbands too. I hated wristbands and I hated headbands back then because it was so extra. And I remember just watching like back in the day, dudes who had those. They usually suck back in elementary. They have all these gear, and it's like we would whoop them. And it's like, yo, this suck. You put all this gear, and I'm hearing my freaking Hubert Davis sneakers for you. Like you trash, but I don't know if Hubert Davis has sneakers. I just went back to basketball sneakers. I was broke as hell, man. Sam Perkins from the Supersonics. Al Harrington, young player back then. Fred Hoiberg. Travis Best. Yeah. So yeah, they were one of these. It's like you felt like the paradigm was shifting too because they were. That's actually a good point. That's actually a good point. You should do a video on that. A lot of those teams back in the day, how much of the influence came from the Knicks? Because think about it, Pat Riley. I mean, obviously, you could say that the Pistons were the first to kind of get like the Bill Lamberts and the Rick Mahorns.
Yeah.
But the Knicks held it down because then the Pistons died out around like that, right when the Knicks started getting like that early '90s era, and the Knicks were kind of holding it down. But you saw the Hornets who were still doing that, trying to get these enforced. I mean, it was still kind of the same for the most part, but you can kind of say the Knicks were like the model of that enforcer role.
I mean, yeah, it definitely didn't start with them. It started in the 80s, really. But, you know, a lot of teams were moving away from that. And the Knicks kept that going with the bruises, the defense, the what do you call it? Blue collar, if you will.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I mean, we worked hard and we tried to outwork you. We didn't have the best talent in the league, but we probably were the hardest workers or one of them. And that's what kept us going.
And remember, we lost. I mean, we didn't have Oakley anymore. We have Anthony Mason, I believe, went to Toronto. Rest in peace, Anthony Mason. One of the first dudes. I used to get parts in my head because of you, bro. That was my dude, Anthony Mason. He just had the crazy designs, man. Love that dude, man. And I heard he's a good dude. Like in person, I heard he's like a real down-to-earth dude, man. So salute to him, rest in peace. But even then, I mean, Jeff Van Gundy was coaching his butt off, bro, because we didn't have those guys anymore. We didn't. Look at our squad again. Like I said, we had our enforcers. I mean, you say Marcus Camby, Kurt Thomas, solid player, solid player. But then we had to face the freaking Spurs, man. And I'm telling you, I hated the Spurs, man. I hated Tim Duncan. I hated David Robinson. I hated the Spurs for years, man. I'm telling you, bro. I used to walk around with a Bible, praying to God. That's when I truly lost. Like I was like, when I realized God don't care about sports. I was walking around with a Bible. I was praying intently for the Knicks to beat the Spurs badly, and we had one win against them. We got mollywopped. And the person I hated, this dude, Sean Elliott. Every year it was, Sean Elliott, can he be healthy and blah blah and his knees? And this dude would go out there with the freaking knee brace in the corner and just kill us. And I said, God, why? Why now? We don't. And the Knicks, we look so, because obviously Allen Houston and Spree tried their best, man. And when you see your soldiers, when you see the guys that you're like, yo, these are guys I'm going with. When you see them falter, it's like it takes the wind out of you, man. Like I don't have a lot of sports moments where I've been like shocked. Like I could tell you that 1994 hurt, but I was too young to really grasp it. And I was spoiled because the Knicks were so good. Perennially, we're just so good. So I was like, come on, we're gonna get it again next year. 98, 99, because I try to go the spiritual route. I try to cheat and go the spiritual route and get the whole DMX, Lord, give me a sign, prayer. Hoping on prayer. That guy was like, dogs, you got other things to worry about. I don't care about these Knicks. He didn't give a damn. And then 2006, as a Met fan, everybody knows. And I was in college. Bro. I've never felt when a moment hits you. This is a Carlos Beltran backdoor curve by Adam Wainwright. After the Nets got back, after Andy Chavez made that catch, the game-saving catch, Aaron Holland is a bum, by the way. Oliver Perez actually had a good game, but Aaron Holland, I'm sorry, you sucked as a freaking reliever. Gave that freaking home. Hit Aaron Holland, bro. And then we got 2 men on base. I think it was Reyes and I think Paula Duca got base hits because I remember Cliff Floyd couldn't do nothing. And we got Aaron was closer, but we played against Jeff Suppan. Jeff Suppan, who has a career 5 ERA, was a bum for the majority of his career. That game, he shut us down. When I'm telling you, bro, let me compare what Jeff Suppan is. Imagine if the Knicks got to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and we're playing the Nets, and who's like a generic play on the Nets now? I don't even know because they had so many roster changes. But just pick their most generic, he won't really do that. You could kill him. Like an Andre Roberson. And Andre Roberson goes up for 6 threes.
6 threes a game?
A guy who can't shoot. A guy who's formed. Andre Roberson is so bad, they would literally sit back. Teams would literally sit back, straighten up their shoulders. And I remember, I think, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Chris Paul. He was like, "Oh, yeah, he ain't got that," and it was discernible. And Chris Paul did he almost made a mistake to guard him. He's like, "Oh, he ain't got that," and he just went for the rebound. Andre Roberson jittered and then shot it, and it was an air ball. That's how Jeff Suppan is one of those dudes that you look up at Jeff Suppan 5 ERA. Oh yeah, this is about to be 8-1 game right, and he shut down the Mets for the most part. I'm telling you, and then Adam Wainwright came in for the closes. So that's how it felt. They're just moments. So that 99 moment, man, it took something out of me. You know what I mean? It took away a piece of that youthful innocence, where it's in your head you're always like, yo, my team's always gonna win. They're always gonna beat you. And you get to the harsh reality. It's like, damn, my team sucks. And then the worst thing is the Kobe era, and that's it's like when a civilization gets conquered by someone else. And it's like the people that used to be there is now they gotta be the slaves, or they gotta be the dreck, or they get treated as the underclass, right? That's how I felt with the Knicks. I just felt like we were being taken over by the Lakers. The Lakers were so uber dominant. People don't remember. Every time the Knicks played the Lakers, I never felt we were gonna win. I just never felt. And granted, when I really knew the Knicks were done was when we were up against the Toronto Raptors. I think we were up 2-1 against them. And they came back and beat us. So let me get this because I want to be 100% sure. We were either up 2-1 or 3-2, something like that. I just remember we were up. And I think it was the last year we went to the playoffs. Up 2000, 2001. And we lost in the Eastern Conference Finals the first round. And that was supposed to be a team that was like, we got to get back here. We good. And yeah, and it just didn't happen. And it's weird because all my bad sports years always coincide with each other, except for the Jets, because the Jets 2001, we were good. It's we switched every year. Every year Curtis Martin was healthy, the Jets were good. And we had Chad Pennington too. And that 2001 year, we beat the Raiders, who had Rich Gannon, who was a beast. Yeah, when he got to the Raiders, I know he wasn't great on the Chiefs. But when he went to the Raiders, I think that one year they went to the finals, the Super Bowl. The Knicks were up. Yeah, we were up 2-1 against the Raptors. Yep, and they beat us in the first round. That was when it used to be best of 5 series. Yep, they beat us, and that was a team. They had McGrady. Was McGrady?
Yeah, that was the McGrady year.
Yeah, that was McGrady. They had McGrady, Vince Carter.
I think that was his coming out year too. His breakout year.
It may have been because he spent 2 years where he's kind of not great, but he was good on defense, but offensively he was. But yeah, that was when you started to see that, and then you saw. And there's a great video on Sports Illustrated. They do these not what ifs, but they show how great regimes fall, and they did a great video talking about basically whole Scott Layden era and how the Knicks, instead of rebuilding, properly flushing out the old guys and say, okay, this is no longer working, they try to retool it. That's why you saw guys like the Othello Harrisons come over, who was a bum. They brought over they traded for Antonio McDyess, traded Nanny Hilario. Granted, Nanny Hilario that first year he did have cancer, he beat it, but he went on to be one of the more productive. He wasn't ever elite, but he was good, very good. Nanny Hilario, especially when he was on the Nuggets. Centers in the league, something the Knicks needed badly. Then Isaiah Thomas era. I mean, and it sucks because Isaiah Thomas It's not that he's a legend. Isaiah Thomas is one of the best draft minds, period. He drafted Damon Stoudemire. He drafted
McGrady
Tracy
too,
McGrady.
right?
I think he drafted Bibby too, I think. He drafted Bibby. I think he
Mike-
drafted Bibby. And I think he was there. I think, was he with the Celtics as something when they drafted Rondo? Or did he want Rondo? No. Was he still the Knicks? What did Isaiah Thomas have to do with Rondo? I think he won either won a Rondo or something. But Rondo was something like that. I just remember. So he was a great mind, but he came to the Knicks and he thought it was, hey, I'm one of the guys. Hey, you know what I mean? And guy was not a good, he tried to be he was just a terrible for the Knicks. And it's like the Knicks were instead of getting out of that mess and rebuilding properly, using your draft picks, getting proper basketball minds, it's like, Dolan just went. And I think Leighton it's like they just went head first into trying to retool and capture that glory of the 90s. And the league was changing. Now, granted, in the early 2000s, you actually look at it. If you look at the numbers, the NBA was still a very low scoring team, a low scoring league, excuse me. And it was still very defensive. That's where you saw like these wings and as far as these volume shooters that came in and they were nice. But you look up and it's like they shot 40% from the field. One of my favorite players of all time, Barron Davis, when he was on the Hornets, he'd give you 30, he'd shoot 30 shots, he'd give you 30 points, but it came off 30 shots. Because those teams that have talent, and it was like, the idea was like, I'm talented, I can do this stuff, and I got to try to carry the team on my back. Everybody wanted to follow the Jordan model of, let me go to another team and be by myself, and I'm gonna make everybody better around me. Jordan was a once in a lifetime player. He also did have Scottie Pippen, had a great coach and a great mind that takes winners, and Phil Jackson. You saw McGrady try to do that. He left Toronto Raptors. So the NBA was changing. So the Knicks were trying to hold on to that past glory, and it was just, it's like dogs, man. We gotta rebuild, man. Like this is, and we just kept diving in, and then you had these drafts with the freaking Channing Frye, Nate Robinson, David Lee. It just felt like these lovable loser drafts, man. And then Mike Sweetney. Oh my gosh! And granted, of course, in 03, the Knicks can't get any of those guys, the Melos. And people think I hate Melo. I don't hate Melo. I just hate his time with the Knicks. I was a Melo. Look, you guys, my cousin Ben. I was a diehard Melo fan. People used to call me a hater because I said Melo was better than LeBron. I said, yo, Melo. I'm watching LeBron, watching Melo. Melo got heart. Melo could pick spots on the floor. At the time, he's what I thought of as like, yo, an absolute dog. And that's how I thought. But LeBron James, I think, saw the game on a higher level. So people try, but it's like we couldn't tap into that draft, man. You had Melo, you had freaking Dwayne Wade. I mean, you have we had Michael Sweetney, and granted, Michael Sweetney had his issues, and he's talked about working through them and all that stuff. He used to eat to feel better and that stuff. But damn, man, it was like, you got this guy from Georgia, and even Michael Sweetney himself, he was a remnant of that old 90s thinking. Yeah, I mean, we never advanced ourselves into getting more. And granted, it's not as if the league turned into what it is today, right? It was more of a free-flowing game, which is actually more reminiscent of the 80s. But, we never advanced. Scott Layden, they'll just make these, let's trade this guy. And then we traded, the picks that turned into LaMarcus Aldridge. You know what I mean? And it's like you're looking up into these mid-2000s, late 2000s drafts. I'm in college. Salute to my boy PJ. And we just sitting back there and we're like, oh man, wow, we gave up this for Lamar. And you see LaMarcus Aldridge on the Blazers, the team with Dame Lillard. No, Dame Lillard. No. Yeah, Brandon Roy back then. It was Brandon Roy. I remember that team. Brandon Roy, Rudy Fernandez, Travis Outlaw.
They had a bunch of long guys. So Josh Smith.
Nah, Josh Smith was a Hawks. Josh Smith was a Hawks. That was a Hawks.
Oh, I thought he played there too.
He may have later on, but I know he was definitely on a. He got his guy started on the Hawks. It was the Hawks. It was him, Joe Johnson, Mike Bibby was there. You had Al Horford came, I think, a little bit later. I think. No, Al Horford was there. Al Horford was there.
I know they had like 3, 6, 11 forwards that could handle the ball. You know what I mean? Like it was like, oh man, if these guys develop, who's gonna guard them?
The talk was about if Josh Smith could develop a jump shot. 'Cause that's one thing that he was a high fly. He was a slasher. It was always about whether. And Josh Smith did get screwed out of a few All-Star appearances. Definitely one. I think one of the ones before he moved on. I think he went to the Pistons after something like that, or I can't remember. Pistons Rockets. Oh, Pistons, I think it was. But it's definitely one he got screwed on. But yeah, you just look up and it's like, damn, when are we ever gonna draft these good players, man? And then you go into the Donnie Walsh era. Now, granted, Donnie Walsh was not a good drafter, right? He wasn't the best of drafters. You could argue he was kind of stuck in his ways with the Pacers. And we tried to clean out. Obviously, we brought in, Isaiah Thomas era. We brought in Eddie Curry. Mind you, this is how dumb you gotta be. Jim Paxson of the Bulls back in the day was he was like the Danny Ainge back then for the Bulls. He's gonna screw you out of if he has leverage. He's gonna screw you out of any trade. This is how bad the Knicks were back then. Jim Paxson, because Eddie Curry had a heart issue, right? So he couldn't work out. He couldn't, and people still call him. He was lazy, but you can understand. It's like, all right, I think it was like a arrhythmia or whatever you call it, something like that. Yeah, like something bad with his heart. Jim Paxson told the Knicks and told Eddie Curry, like, Eddie Curry, look, to save your life, I will pay you some lifetime contract or something like that, so you don't have to play. You're good for life, you're set for life. He told the Knicks, look, this guy has a heart issue. Please don't do it, Knicks. What did Isaiah Thomas do? He said, nope, I want Eddie Curry. And he got Zachary Randolph. Now, Zachary Randolph I liked a lot. Jailblazers, that team out of their minds, right? Him, Damon Stoudemire, Bonzi Wells, Rasheed Wallace, uber talented players. And they got to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers. Couldn't beat them because they just weren't a disciplined team. Everybody knows Rasheed Wallace with a 63 technical fouls that one year. But Zach Randolph was a low post beast, but him and Curry just shared the same real estate. They just couldn't play. Yeah, it didn't make sense. And then we got Jamal Crawford. Remember Jamal Crawford when he was on the Bulls? He gave us 55 on his birthday. That's how I remember Jamal Crawford. That dude was streaky, but he could give you buckets. And then obviously Marbury. And I will never feel whenever somebody's saying, "Yo, a dude's coming back home," I don't give a damn anymore. Because when Marbury came home, everybody talking about Melo. I was happy when Marbury came home because he went to the same high school as my cousin. This was my cousin Esther. She went to Lincoln High School back in back in the 90s, whenever they went. And Marbury, she said, yeah, Marbury's a jerk, blah, blah, blah. But, Marbury was that dude at Lincoln. You know what I'm saying? So
shit, Marbury was that dude his whole career. I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves. 20-8. I want to say he's not too many people have done that throughout their career.
No.
I think it's like a short list of maybe 5. So
but see, here's the thing about Marbury, though, and Marbury, it was all here with his head, because Marbury, back in the day, first of all, when you talk about that time with the Timberwolves, I'm telling you, possibly one of the most dynamic duos with him and Garnett, bro. That's another for anybody. If anybody's here from Minnesota, y'all need to do Knicks Timberwolves and Bruises on Garnett's career, because the tragedy that's happened in his career with the whole Joe Smith thing, they had the 4 draft picks taken away. That is a tragedy of almost destroying, not allowing this guy get one of the greatest power forwards not get a ring. Thank God. I mean, not thank God he got, because it's the Celtics, but he's lucky enough to get one. But Marbury, I thought, was one of the most talented guards in the league. Him and Baron Davis were 2 of the strongest point guards I've ever seen back in the day. Marbury was just a bully. Would just lower his shoulder, boom, like catch you, drive, lay it up. And he always got perfect leverage right beneath the basket. But that era, man, you had to clean it up because it just wasn't working. It was the circus. It was a circus at MSG. Guys weren't focused on basketball. It was just a sloppy, terrible team. I mean, we went to the playoffs once. With we were under 500. I was like, we're not going to do anything. Like it felt empty. I was like, we're not doing anything. And I because I'm such a big baseball head, anything 500 is always like if you always have to be and that granted, it seems like the Saints back in the day, 7-9 with Marshawn Lynch, Knicks back then, 2004, made it to the playoffs. But it just feels slimy. It's like, yeah, sure, we got there really through circumstance versus through our own merit. So, Donnie Walsh comes over and cleans the team. But he cleans the team, and granted, people say, "Oh, he's setting up for Carmelo
LeBron's
Anthony.
free agency.
Sorry, for LeBron, right? Sorry about that. And it's like, okay, he's doing that. Okay, fair enough. We probably not gonna get LeBron, whatever. I don't believe in miracles anymore. But he was cleaning up that team, man. And that team, I don't care what no one says. Stoudemire came over. Now, granted, we had to offer him and Tyson with an extra year, so we gave him a 5-year deal. Because remember, the Suns were offering him like 4 years, 95, or something like that. Something like that. But it's just at the knee. My bad. Delano said, I said Bibby. Okay, my bad. He didn't pick Bibby. I apologize for that. I think it was just Dame Stoudemire with the Raptors. I apologize. When we talk about Isaiah Thomas and the draft picks. Sorry, I'm an old dude. But that team with Donnie Walsh, man, I actually like that team because at one point in the season, they actually ranked second in offensive efficiency. And I watched that team closely. I remember Gallinari just kept getting the back injuries. But then he once you start to be healthy, right? And the big turnaround, this is the thing about it, is like the basketball guys tease you, man. I was starting to get that hope again because if y'all go back to that Clippers series, the Clippers game where Blake Griffin spun around and did the dunk on I think it was Mozgov, right? I believe we lost that game, but you started to see it change in the team. Remember, Wilson Chandler wasn't a good shooter coming out of DePaul. He changed his form. Anybody who think can change your form, your shooting form. Everybody they're down on RJ. Go watch Wilson Chandler when he came to the league. Go watch his form and then go back and tell me if RJ Barrett does not at least have a chance to change his form. Wilson Chandler used to shoot the ball some weird thing I'm not. He used to shoot like up top here, and it was like this weird janky motion, bro. And until then he changed it to where he got for one hand. I'm telling you, if anybody knows, go watch how he used to shoot the ball. Wilson Chandler his shot was terrible. So RJ has hope. Trust me, RJ is a lot further along than Wilson Chandler, but Wilson Chandler, solid player. I think he shot like 34% from three, so it wasn't great. But you saw the progress, right? He was a good wing player. Will come with the bench. Landry Fields, everybody kills Landry Fields. That year with the Knicks, that 1 year with that rookie, I think he was like 9th in voting for rookie of the year, something like that. Blake Griffin obviously won it because Blake Griffin cheated because he was supposed to be rookie of the year last year, but because of injuries or whatever, he didn't qualify for enough games. Felton and Stoudemire. If it wasn't for Rondo, Felton would have had an all-star game because Felton that year was 17-7. He was a beast. I don't care. People kill Felton and that stuff, and I understand people like to joke about the weight. Sometimes they find like the motivation. Sometimes when and remember he was like a maligned guard with the Bobcats, right? It was always like, damn, we drafted this guy. Came from the USM team that won. I think it was him and Sean McCants, Sean May. I think Marvin Williams was also there too. Felton never found his footing with the Bobcats. Granted, the Bobcats was just a moribund franchise, but Felton found his way with the Knicks. And that's why I love when players come over and they either change their game or they compliment, they find their home, right? That's why I give Randall credit. Now, last year, again, people can kill me. I didn't like what Randall was doing last year. I just was not a fan of his game. This year, I'm a fan of his game. So I appreciate him changing his game. Now, Felton was different. Felton just needed him to trust in him. And him and Stoudemire, that pick and roll and pick and pop.
That was the tandem of the year.
Oh, my. Underrated. I don't care what no one says. That year, Stoudemire was ringing. I don't remember where he was voting or where but people talking about Stoudemire as being an MVP candidate because he looked so good with that Felton squad. Him and that Felton tandem. And that squad, him, Landry Fields. Even Mozgov was productive. Mozgov was good for the Knicks. And I'm not saying he was a world beater. Because I remember when we made the Melo trade, and this idiot Stephen A. Smith said, Mozgov. But it's not about the individual players. Melo versus Mozgov. Melo is 30 times the player that Mozgov is. But who complements, who fits the team structure better? At that time, I'm not saying Melo can never do it, right? But that team again, and people say that team, we were in the 7-8 seed and we were right there for a team that was growing, a young team that was growing. And then people said, oh, we had to make the trade for Melo. And even D'Antoni, this is what messed up the organization. Because in the same thing, like when RG3, right? Whenever you have a coach, a GM, and an owner all have to be on one accord. Perfect example of that are the Spurs, the Heat now, right? We all have to have the same message, the same philosophy, the same mindset. You know what I mean? And they messed that up because they forced Melo over now. Me and Sim get into all the time. Suit to MBK, go subscribe if you haven't already. But me and Sim get into all the time. Sim thinks we have to make a trade because Melo's going to sign blah, blah. I'm like, yo, look, we don't have to make a trade because I care about the Knicks. I don't care about Melo per se. I care more about the team. if Melo's not fitting the framework, then you move on. You know what I mean? And we could have got. I feel like, look, Melo should have had some foresight to say, hey, all right, damn, there might be a lockout. All right, screw it, man. I'm gonna get my money back on all these connections I got. All these friends. I'm gonna get my money back on all these endorsements. Boom. All right, we good. Because all these other guys, LeBron James, it was supposed to be LeBron James, Melo, and Dwayne Wade in Miami, and Melo reneged on that. You know what I mean? So when they made that trade, man, and D'Antoni and Walsh weren't for it, it messed up everything. Now you have Melo, who didn't want to play on the perimeter, because remember, D'Antoni likes to play the high pick and roll, keep guys on the perimeter to shoot. And once you get the ball on the perimeter, you can do whatever you want. It's not as if you have to be there and shoot the ball. You can take the ball, driving your man, go into a post. Melo didn't want to do that. Melo wanted to be in the post, and that messed up D'Antoni's system. Now, granted, D'Antoni's a terrible coach, but that messed up everything. That's why I have such a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to pause for anybody cooking. When it comes to Melo's time with the Knicks, because we didn't have to do that for Melo. Melo is such a tragic. And granted, we didn't amnesty Chauncey Billups, who was ready to get his contract expired anyway. Instead of amnestying Stoudemire, so things fell apart. But that just messed it up for me. Where it's like you just have this petulant owner who's just always going to mess up anything good with the Knicks. So I lost hope for a little bit. I'm always a diehard Knicks fan. But and then the Fizdale thing, Steve Mills. I wasn't too enthusiastic. Obviously, you got to talk about stuff and be hopeful that somebody could flash here and there. Maybe they pick the right player. Then you have these terrible drafts of Kevin Knox's. I mean, dogs. How the hell do you go into a workout and you say, whoa, we didn't scout this dude the whole year, bro. Like, or not saying scout the whole year, but after this one workout, he's our guy. Like, dogs. What? And now you're coming out to find out SGA was begging us to work him out. Now you're finding out that and people already knew. Donovan Mitchell, Phil Jackson was sleeping during his workout, bro. And he didn't like him because he didn't like sushi. Like, this is dumb stuff that happened. Not to say it doesn't happen anywhere else, but why does it happen to the Knicks? How? Like, Donovan Mitchell's right there. He's a Mets fan. He wants to come to the Knicks. Now, granted, his time at Louisville, you didn't see it like that, but you do your scouting. You test a guy. You can't fall in love with, like, Phil Jackson he tries to think above us and get Frank and get this whole try. Don't draft for a system per se. You draft for talent. Now, granted, you could draft for need, as in we need shooters. And maybe where you are in the draft is like, all right, there's a guy who's a really talented player, but his ceiling is high, but his floor is so low, so we don't know. Versus there's a guy like who I want him. I want him Mikal Bridges, who's a 3-and-D player that at the very least you're getting really good 3-point. You're getting good 3-point shooting like he's doing now with the Suns, and really good defense, and you could grow from that. You know what I mean? So when I saw Knox, it's like this. It's like, come on, Knox, and then Frank. You know what I mean? And it's just the bruises are there, man. But they're slowly starting to dissipate, man. I got to give it to this coaching staff. Even though I think Leon Rose, I think that the Obi Toppin pick was a Leon Rose pick. I think Halliburton was a Tibbs guy. Even though now you're hearing that Tibbs Halliburton said that he didn't want anybody else but the Kings. But also, me personally, I wanted Devin Vassell. But quickly, he's a good pick. That is good scouting. So I'll give it to the Knicks. Hopefully, the wounds is this is cocoa butter now.
Neosporin.
Some Neosporin now. It's healing, man. So I'm hopeful. It's like a weird. Not to say that I'm always. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just trying to be cautiously optimistic. That's the best way. Oh, SGA, Simmons Singh. SGA said that the Knicks, like, he begged the Knicks for a workout. Because he wanted the Knicks to see it and possibly just do scouting on him. Again, I just said this about Knox. You shouldn't be convinced by workout, but you should be doing your homework on everybody. You should be doing your homework on SGA. You know what I mean? So you shouldn't be forced to look at a workout from Knox if you weren't scouting before. Now, hopefully he's scouting SGA too, and we needed a point guard too. Knox, when you watch his game, is like his game is so predicated on the system. And he's only averaging 16, 17 points at Kentucky, but SGA was showing flashes. And SGA's game was actually being marginalized a little bit at Kentucky, but he was still showing you flashes. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. It sucks, but I'll give it to Tom Thibodeau, man. He reminds me, again, he's from the Knicks. He's from that Van Gundy era.
Yes, sir.
And I know some people might not like certain things about, rotations and offense. Granted, I think our offense is being held back by the fact that we just don't have the talent. So, is not a thing of, because we try to run exotic things. We run a Spain pick and roll. We always run a double screen up top. We run horn sets. We run a lot of things. We run a reverse flexes, all that stuff. We've done it, but it's just that we don't have the players per se. I mean, Bullock, outside of last night, Bullock and Burks have been disappointing from outside or scoring wise for the most part. So it's like you can't run certain things. One thing I like about Tom Thibodeau is discipline. Discipline, not just on defense, but discipline, accountability, being prepared. Like these guys, like your boy Randall said the other day, he was like, yo, like Tom Thibodeau has us uber prepared on every team we face. Every team we face. You know what I mean? So it's like that. That's why I love it. These young kids coming in. They come in and they think they know everything because they're talented, right? You got guys like, and I know Cat's going through it this year, so I'm not going to judge too much of this, but you got these guys who spent 1 year in college. Now they're trying to dictate to you. They're trying to dictate to basketball minds. Like, Richard, not every coach is good. I agree with Gilbert Arenas when he says all these coaches that come in the league, a lot of them ain't good. But you have legit coaches who are good, who have good philosophies, game plans, and they get marginalized by these kids who spent 1 year in college, who got pampered in AAU, and you trying to sit and tell me about. That's why I like Tom Thibodeau. Now people, granted, Frank and these other guys played yesterday. It was a blowout game. It was against the Kings, but you got to work your way up. I like the merit-based system that Tom Thibodeau has. Bring that back so these young and a lot of these young kids, they need it. Randall said it himself. Granted, Randall's a little bit, he's not old, he's 26, but he said himself, he's like, I need that challenge. A lot of these young kids coming in, they need that challenge. When you take away the money from these kids, when you take away all the glamour and glitz and the IG models, I put money on it. If they had to go back and they had to pick between, okay, do you want to go on a gram and act like you the ish, or do you want to get proper coaching? They're going to probably favor proper coaching because they need it. A lot of these guys, Devin Booker is giving you the same amount of minutes or the same amount of points production he has in years prior. But it's different now with Monty Williams at 0.5. They call the 0.5 seconds or less offense. And you have a point guard in CP3. That's coaching up.
It changes things.
And he looks deadlier now. Now it's like the Suns are a team that could scare a few people in the West. Versus Devin Booker's an uber talented player, but that team sucks. That's good coaching. That's why I like Tom Thibodeau. Now people might kill him. Oh, because Knox not playing. I'm like, guys, be patient. You know what I mean? Fizzo try to coach you guys, try to coach his team up. You try to run the Spain people. You try to play exotic things, but there's no accountability. There was no discipline. His voice, he's not a leader like that. He's not a general. It's like a dude trying to go out there. Your general's injured, so someone got to go out and make a speech and galvanize the troops. You know what I mean? I know people don't like George Washington because he's slaves and that stuff, right? But George Washington had troops back in the Revolutionary War where they would go with food for months. They would go proper food. They were emaciated. But for some reason, George Washington got in the air, galvanized them. Hannibal of Carthage lost thousands of troops, elephant troops, traveling over to Rome. Almost brought Rome down to his knees because he was able to galvanize troops. That's what I'm talking about. Leaders. Mansa Musa. Well, he's one of the richest guys. I can't read. You know what I mean? Great. Freaking Genghis Khan. When I'm talking about leaders, I'm talking about not necessarily demagogues who just talk. I'm talking about leaders who can lead men, lead young men. And that's why I like Tom Thibodeau. He could lead these guys accountability. You may not like the science on the floor, but the thing I like about Tom Thibodeau, he don't move away from his word. Now people sit and say, "Oh, but he said this and that," but we don't know what's happening in practice, man. Kevin,
just to touch on that real quick. Mm-hmm. Number one, like you said, with Knox needs this kind of coach to hold him accountable, and not only that. If you go back to his to last year, I believe, or his rookie year, he said that's what he needs. He wants a coach that's going to be on top of him, and stay on him and hold him accountable. I think this is the greatest. I think this is the greatest assembled Knicks front office that we've ever had. When you talk about top to bottom, and when I say top, I'm not including the owner. But I mean, look at not only do we have Thibodeau, we have Woodson.
Keep going.
We could go back and talk about Woodson's time with the Knicks before and what he did, changing some of the culture, how he handled all these personalities, what he did to change the perception of J.R. Smith. Finally reached him. Then we got a guy like Kenny Payne who has connections with a number of our players, but on top of that. We know he's a development guy. We got the guy Johnny Bryant. So now we got Thibodeau, who's hard nosed, right? He's gonna yell at you. He's gonna discipline you. He's gonna call it, my way or the highway. But once you get yelled at and you go to the next guy, you got a Woodson who's gonna be, hey, Tibbs is right. But this is what you got to do and
Mhm.
to get better or to do this. And then you go to the next guy and it's like, all right, you got yelled at. You told what you got to do. I'm going to show you how to get to where you got to get to.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's a whole line of coaches that we have that you could go one by one, and you discipline, you get encouragement. Now we're going to work on it, and now we're going to show it on the court. So I think we're in great position. I think everybody's going to get their chance. I think we've seen that already so far. And then when you get out the rotation, you got to stay ready. Like that's one thing I loved about seeing Frank last night. I think Knox is going to get a second opportunity, and then it's on you. You got to produce when you get it.
Agreed.
Make my job as the coach difficult. You know what I mean? Make me have to think, man. He's doing this thing in practice.
Yep.
Should I give? I got to give him a chance, man. He's earning it. You know what I mean? And then when you get that chance, produce. Produce. Shine. And then make the coach and the organization have to decide. Oh man, this is a tough decision. What do I do? Everybody's playing well. That's the kind of problems I want to have. I think that's where we're leading.
I would love. Yo, Tony, you said it best. To have the Knicks have say two players, and you're like, who the hell do we decide because they're that good versus who the hell we decide because they're both bad, but we need somebody to fill a roster spot. So you gotta keep one person. It's like that's what I want to think. And the thing, Kevin Knox, if someone brought it up, Stephen Fox, it was a Blarn Stairs. He said it best. He's like, yo, Kevin Knox, the way they were joking on him, there was like a segment where it was like Obi and some other players, right? And it wasn't even supposed to be a thing on like a segment on Kevin Knox, but it turned to them calling Kevin Knox, making fun about his feet and making fun of him about his head and all this stuff. And it's like they just kept joking on him. And I forgot Stephen Fox referenced something else, and it just seems like they just joke on Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox has to. There's certain players that they're talented, but I think that they were forced to play basketball. And I think with Kevin Knox is like he was so talented growing up, right? Because you have these guys who can play 3 or 4 sports or something. They're just stupid just ridiculously good uber athletes. Played football, kind of outgrew it, and then went to basketball. And I think that he has like a brick. Because it's just when I watch him, and again, I know he doesn't get, but it's like you watch him. You should never be foggy mind in your third, like, you know what I mean? You could be in your first year, whatever, but when someone's like, oh, the motor and all this stuff, why that motor is your focus and your desire. Like, if I'm out there and I know that, okay, look, my 3-point, whatever, on defense, I'm going to sell out. I'm going to shut down everybody. No, you are not. No. It don't matter if I average 5 points, just because my shot may not be there, but I know on defense, I'm shutting you down. So if I don't score, you don't score. And I would make Tom Thibodeau see that. I don't see that in Knox. And it's like, I don't know. Again, it's just me speculating. I don't know if he has a desire for basketball. I don't know if it burns in him. You know what I mean? When I watch these guys like Kobe, when I watch Jordan, now granted, these are Hall of Fame players, but that same fight as in Jordan Kobe is the same fight as in Tony Allen, who's not a Hall of Famer, but one of the best defensive players of all time. Whether you like to admit it or not, it's the same fight that you saw. You can pick another one. Even a Mark Jackson, even though people say Mark Jackson, I was going to play great, but a guy in terms of his offense and facilitating, getting guys involved. The same fight I've seen CP3 setting up plays, getting guys in position, getting guys the easiest basket. This guy's 36, about to go to 37, I think. Guy's broken down. How many injuries? And he got voted to All-Star Game 1. It's still one of the best point guards in the game. There's a certain tenacity they have in their love and desire to still try to be the best in the game. I don't even think Knox is on level 1. I know people like Kevin. I'm not killing Kevin Knox, but the fire I see him quickly. You know what I mean? Quickly comes in, ashy lips, ashy face, is just all doubt. You know what I mean? Like it's just like he eats and sleeps basketball. When he went through that tough stretch, and granted, we play the Kings. The Kings are the worst defensive team in the league, but you saw like this, like yeah, I belong here. Like he's had a bad stretch of games. Last night, he had at one point he had 23 points in 15 minutes. I didn't see quickly sit there, like, you know what I mean? And then he had kind of like that, oh, like, damn, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna get over this. We good. I'm back. That's what I want to see in Knox. I want to see that fire, like, Yo, I made a bad play. And granted, this year we got mad. He fouled Trey Young, and he was pissed. But it's kind of like, oh man, it wasn't this like, all right, we back at this. And Coach Colorblocks, we were covering the game. Coach Colorblocks said it best. He was like, yo, I think it was a Hawks game. He's like, yo, it was a foul that he had on a three. He jumped somebody who was shooting a three on the corner. Coach Colorblocks says, so watch this. He's not going to score another point. He's taking out his game. I said, really? So he's taking out of it mentally. And Coach Colorblocks was 1,000,000,000% right. Knox didn't score another point. He didn't do nothing the whole game, the whole rest of the way. So that's the thing with Knox is like Tom Thibodeau. I want him to instill. Some people say this new school. Oh, we gotta cater to the kid. No, all these kids nowadays, man, and even in society, discipline. Now, I granted the entrepreneurial nature of not just these players, but the kids nowadays is beautiful. I love it. I'm not one of these old heads. I wish I had. Well, I do wish I had that back in the day. But when I see these young kids making money off of YouTube and trading and all that, I love it. I'm like, yo, this is.
You know what I see in Knox? I see the same problem that we saw the first 2 years with Frank. I think more than just. I think he's just too unselfish, and I think he has to be more selfish. He has to be more aggressive. We're saying the same things. I think if he gets more selfish and says and realizes, hey, the onus is on me. It's not gonna just come to me. I gotta take it. I gotta go get it. You know what I mean? And
so how do you do that? How do we do?
Well, number one, I think right now he's in the perfect position because now he's getting set when he doesn't perform. So now it's like if you want to get in the game, guess what? You're gonna have to go get it in practice and show it in practice, and then get your opportunity and then show it when you get the opportunity. Before there was no accountability. So even if he had a bad game, he knew he was playing the next game.
True.
You know what I mean? He knew he was going to get his fizz.
Mike Miller.
Yes, he knew he was getting in the game. Now the fact that he doesn't know if he's going to get back and get another opportunity, this is the prime time for him to say, "Hey, if we're going to see if he wants it or not." Because I don't think he doesn't want it. I don't think he doesn't love basketball. I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I know people hate saying, "Oh, he's young," but he is.
He's young.
Many coaches, so learning different systems, not knowing what your role is. I think that's why his rookie season was his best season because he was getting the minutes regardless of what. You know what I mean? It wasn't about his efficiency. It wasn't about his defense. It was like, all right, you're going out there, you're gonna do whatever you do, and we're gonna accept that. But as it got more restricted and his play determined his how much minutes he's gonna get, you've seen it decrease. But now that he's not playing at all, I think this is the perfect amount of pressure on him to see, hey, do you want to be in the league or not? Do you want playing time or not?
I hope so because Tony, I don't know if you've been following it. When I tell you there's some dogs in this draft, I'm not talking about top 1 to 5. I don't think we're gonna get there. But when I'm telling you, there's some dogs in this draft. If you draft a guy like Moses Moody, Knox, that might be it. He's a 3-and-D player from Arkansas. If you draft a guy, even some of these guards, not granted, Knox at the smallest will play the 3. But there are other wings in this draft who they got the fire in them. I'm just saying. I look at it. I'm old school, man. There's always somebody trying to take my spot. Like I got a healthy paranoia, man. So Knox has to put in his head like, yo, I got dudes trying to take my spot. They're trying to take my food. Like they're trying to take my food. I gotta feed my family. I gotta feed my, you know what I mean? I gotta feed my bank account, and I got somebody like creeping up trying to take my spot. That's how Knox should have been. That's how I would have been looking at it, even when I was getting minutes. Okay, I scored 13 points, but my efficiency was trash. My defense was trash my rookie year. How do I get better? That's why people say I'm biased. I don't necessarily, because again, when RJ Barrett got drafted, I wasn't the biggest fan. Everybody knew I was a John Morant fan. I was heartbroken when he get number 2, man. But when I watch RJ Barrett, I see a guy constantly trying to get better at his game, even if it's not pretty, even if it's not. And again, I have my qualms with his game too. Look, there are games where he's taking bad shots, making stupid plays. He's not without fault, but he works hard he doesn't play like I'm gonna just rest on my laurels. I'm averaging 17 points, 42% from the field, 31% from three. I'm good. I'm good. I'm producing. He's always trying to get better at his game. He hired his own shooting coach last year. You know what I mean? Who does that? And again, his shot ain't and he tried to change up a little bit. He's going back to some bad habits, but he's trying to change his game. So that's all I can say with these guys, man. You gotta try to work your craft 1,000,000,000%, man. I did it. I saw with the 90s Knicks, man. I saw it. That's what you just said. These guys back and they can hit a 15-foot mid-range. Now these guys got to throw a floater. I'm not coming out quickly, but guys can't even freaking form up to shoot the mid-range. They got to throw up a floater because they didn't learn it in AAU. They didn't learn it in college. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping, man. It's gonna be tough.
But Guillermo, I appreciate you coming on. I wish we could have probably did this for like another hour, but I gotta go to work.
Yeah. I didn't even hold you.
No, it's all good. I got time, but I don't want to push it. And I'm not even used to doing this morning, this early. So, I had to make a sacrifice. So I appreciate you giving me your time, man. Anything you want to let the chat know?
Nah, man, I appreciate all you guys, man. Zach coaches at Supreme System Lord, man. Simmons Singh, man. C-Mac, my guy Jay Boogie, man. First of all, Jay Boogie, you playing around, bro. Like I said, I'm gonna bug you every day you on here. You need your own show, and we all gonna support it, Jay Boogie. Stop playing around. I know you don't want to hear from me, but Keyshawn, City for real, man. All you guys in the chat, man. Kevin Bergon, man. Real King, Delano Still Jr., man. A lot of you guys, man. Look, I got a lot of love for you guys, man. Justin Alba, because you guys support all these shows, bro. You guys go from privilege to support all these shows. There's no, you're part of MBK, you're part of this. You support all these shows, man. So I got love for you guys, man. Suto, you guys, man. Tony Crow, you talking about your show's gonna blow up soon. Trust me, man. Because everybody got their own Knicks pains, man. So I'm definitely gonna blow this up on my show. I got a show actually at 3. So I'm definitely gonna be talking about your show, man. Tell everybody to watch this. Not just my episode. You had a great episode with Stephanie last week. So salute to her too. So to all you guys, man. Yo, God bless you, Crow, man.
Hey, let me ask you, did you see my episode with Andy?
No, I didn't see it.
Check that out. Everybody, if y'all didn't see the episode with Andy, he changed the whole dynamic of the show. And that's all I'm gonna say without giving it away. It's like a totally different aspect of Knicks and Bruises. So you guys gotta check that out. Salute to the chat. I appreciate you guys spending some time with me. Support everybody. Everybody. That's what I'm gonna say. And I got another episode Monday, so look out for that. I got my man Ron Cleveland coming in, man. So it's gonna be the Yo Black is Time, man episode. It's gonna be a great one. Man. Look out for that. Salute, Guillermo, again, man. I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna try to check in. You said 3:00 you going on?
3 p.m. Yeah, it's for we watching the IGN game just to watch Kuminga and Jalen Green. So yeah, if you want to pop in, whenever you have time, bro. I know you're busy, so whenever you have time.
I mean, I'll be at work, but I should be on lunch around 4:30. So
yeah,
if you're still on, I'll pop in there a little bit. And again, I appreciate you guys, man. Salute.
Whoa, Tony, are you fighting this weekend? You fighting on Saturday, right?
Yes, I am.
Stairs. Tony, who you fighting again on Saturday?
The former champion.
Kevin. If you don't kill him on Saturday, guys, be tuned on Saturday night, 11:45 to see my man Tony Crow destroy Kevin Knox. I mean, Kevin,
it is Kevin Knox, isn't it?
I think it is Kevin. It might as well be Kevin Knox. This is my guy Tony Crow. Please be tuned in for that, man.
Salute. Yeah, I'm trying to move up in the rankings, man.
Come on. Stop.
I'm trying to move up in the rankings. But support Blanche Tiz as well.
Yes.
Support everybody, man. We building. Appreciate you guys. Salute.
Peace.